Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. I hope you are all doing well today. I am here to do my top 10-ish books of the year so far for 2017. I say ish because I kind of fudged it a little bit, as you will see, but I wanted to get a list out there of the things that have really stuck in my head since I started reading in 2017. I have a little guest. Say hi, Blanche. Blanche is back for this video. And so she's laying on my lap. So we'll hopefully be able to do this without her wanting to get up. So I'm going to do them in the order I read them. They are not in any sort of order of top 10, 1 to 10. They are being done exactly in the order that I read them. So I'm going to start with the very first book I read in 2017, and that is May Sarton's The Magnificent Spinster. Now this book, this is an old book. This came out in 1985 as the copyright, and I have told you guys in my very first video that I've kind of fallen in love with May Sarton as an author. I've started to collect her books wherever I find them at used bookstores. But The Magnificent Spinster is the story of Jane Reed. She is one of 4 children that live a pretty privileged life, and she chooses never to get married. She runs a school, and it's kind of about the girls that come in and out of her life and how she affects them and how they affect her. The women that run the school with her have a very lasting effect on her life. And some of the friendships are super, super deep. You guys know from past things that I love a book about an old woman, a spinster. I think it's hilarious that there's this idea that just because she chose not to get married, that she has this sort of label on her, but she kind of just bucks the whole system. She's ridiculously successful, and it's just a really touching, moving book about friendship and affecting the world in any way that you can. So that's the May Sarton's The Magnificent Spinster. It was the first book I read this year, and I still think about it. So what is next? I talked about this book in my graphic novel, and this is where I say it's ish. I'm starting to push it. But this is March, the collection of graphic novels. There are 3 in the series about the life of U.S. Congressman John Lewis. He writes the text. It starts sort of in on the day that Obama gets inaugurated as President of the United States, and he reflects back on his life in the civil rights movement here in America. It is heart-wrenching and problematic because a lot of the issues he was dealing with in the 40s, 50s, and 60s are still completely here today. I just realized how dark half of my face is. I apologize. We have to have the air conditioning on. I left from 111 degrees, and now it is still 97 at home. So our air conditioning's on, so I do not have the ability to have great light in here. So, but March was amazingly powerful. I did say the final volume does get a little bogged down in its own sense of history, but I would still highly recommend it. I was so amazed at the amount of stuff that I didn't know that I learned, what an amazing person John Lewis is and everything that he did. And the art is great, the story is telling and really worth your time. So that's March. It's actually by John Lewis, Andrew Aiden, and Nate Powell. Those are the people who do the coloring and the drawing, and it's John Lewis's life story. Next, you guys have never heard me talk about this book, I'm sure. This is Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk by Kathleen Rooney. I'm not going to talk about it a ton because I really have talked about it so much. But this is the story of a woman on New Year's Eve from 1984 to 1985, who takes a walk around New York City. New York City at that time was a very dangerous place to take a walk. She is also in her 80s, and she is walking on New Year's Eve to where she is going to go to dinner to celebrate the holiday. And it's kind of a reflection on her life as an ad executive in the, I want to say the 30s and 40s. I may be getting my time mixed up a little bit there. It's so well written. It is so moving. It's about a powerful woman bucking the system again, and the life she leads. It deals with what happened to women in this time when they decided to have a baby, what they had to do with their career. It deals with the depression of after a child for this woman. What was left with her life? What was she going to do? It was really, really powerful. So I really, really liked it. And you know that. Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk by Kathleen Rooney. Next, again, another book that you are going to be so surprised is on this list, and that's The Essex Serpent by Sarah Perry. This book is going around a lot. You know, Simon loved it last year. It was a Waterstone Book of the Year last year. I think it won the London... won a book prize just recently for Book of the Year. It is the story of Cora. She, at the beginning of the novel, her husband has passed. They had a very tumultuous relationship. Simon corrected me. She does not move to the city of Essex. There is no city of Essex. But the county of Essex, she moves to a town there where they are seeing the Essex Serpent and blaming it for a bunch of bad things that are happening to people in their town. She is interested in finding it as an anthropological finding. She meets a pastor and his wife. She becomes friends with him, and kind of they have this very tumultuous relationship. She from science, he from religion, but they're friends and they really do appreciate each other. It has so many good minor characters. It's very Victorian and it just sweeps you up. I don't know if I could say it enough. The Essex Serpent, it's so good. It really is so good, guys. It just came out in the US this month. Please, if you haven't read it, go read it. I promise you will not be disappointed. Again, I said 10-ish. Remember that. The next two books I'm going to talk about are these two graphic novels, trying not to get my head in the way, by Isabel Greenberg, and they are both her graphic novels. I'm going to speak mostly about the 100 Nights of Hero because I read it first. I adored the Encyclopedia of Early Earth. It's super good. Same art style, great story, but really this one is my favorite. 100 Nights of Hero is the story of a woman and her lover Hero who are trying to fend off a man who thinks he can seduce her as he has a bet with her husband. Hero tells stories as a way to distract him, and you kind of get the history of storytelling from the female perspective as a way to revolt against the male-dominated society. It's about empowering women. It's about love. It's about so many good things, and it's really about how the power of the story to change your life and to what's the word I'm looking for? Chronicle your life. So both of these are very good. If you haven't read them, I highly recommend both of them. That's 100 Nights of Hero and the Encyclopedia of Early Earth, both by Isabel Greenberg. Okay, so the next book I'm going to tell you about is Selene by Peter Heller. I talked about this book. It was a Booktopia book. Peter Heller signed my book for me. Super nice of him. And my friend Janet actually read this, got this copy for me. And Selene is a 70-year-old, maybe late 60s, early 70s-year-old private investigator who is hired to solve the disappearance of a young woman's father. And it is about the sort of investigation into that, but it also is just about people. It's about interactions. It's about Selene as a person. You find out, if you ever get a chance to hear Peter Heller talk, that Selene is based on his mother. She's a very strong woman. I have a thing for books with strong female characters. She really runs the show. She has emphysema from years of smoking, but she's also great with a gun, great with investigating. Her husband is kind of her Watson to her Sherlock, and it's really the story of going through Colorado up to Wyoming, searching for this man, as we learn about Selene's history, how she came to the point she's at, and who she is as a person. The mystery to me wasn't as important as really the character development. It's really, really well written. I've read, as I said in the past, all of Peter Heller's novels. This really is my favorite, and that's Selene by Peter Heller. Next on my list is The Paper Man by Gallagher Lawson. This is a book that I got because of Mercedes over at Mercy's Musings. She did a talk about the publisher, which is Unnamed Press. This is the story of Michael. Michael is a man, I think his name is Michael. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm blanking on his name. Michael, I was right. Michael is a man who lives in inland, and he is made of paper. You find out he has had an accident and his father had to rebuild him. He wants to leave his home and move to the city because he really wants to start life over. And what happens is in 5 sections, he meets 5 different people who kind of create his life for him, dictate to him who the person he's going to be is. And it's not really until he decides that he is going to become his own person that he can really shed his outer skin to become his inner person. It's very political, it's very well written, and the story is amazing, and I really enjoyed it, and I think about it actually all the time, and that's The Paperman by Gallagher Lawson. The next book is actually, again, thanks to Mercedes over at Mercy's Musings. This was one of the books in Mothbox 1 month. This is The Doll's Alphabet by Camilla Grudova. This is a short story collection. The short stories are so weird and off the wall, and I was totally captivated by the first story, which is of these women who shed their skin, and underneath they are ants, and as they do this, they empower themselves to basically take over the world in which they live. It was very good. It was very strange. Every story kind of has a connecting theme of sewing, of creating, of becoming who and what you are with the materials around you. You will never see where a lot of the stories are going. It's super, super well done. That's The Doll's Alphabet by Camilla Grudova. Okay, I have 3 left. I hope you guys are enjoying this list of 10-ish books that I loved in the beginning of 2017. I wonder if any of them will wind up on the end of my year list. I have a feeling a few of them will, and this is probably one of them. This is Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, and I totally butcher your name. I hear people say it on BookTube all the time, and they say it so beautifully. This is the story of... I'm totally blanking on the main characters' names. This is the story of a married couple in Nigeria who have been married for 4 years. When they got married, they agreed that they would stay monogamous, but the wife has not produced a child, and so his family pressures him to take a second wife and in an attempt to have children to propagate the family. It's about the fact that his wife does eventually get pregnant and have children. There's a lot of loss in this book, loss of family, loss of trust, loss of belief in a relationship. I found it ridiculously moving. It really was my favorite to win the Bailey's Prize this year. I cannot wait to see what she does next. The book is beautiful with these yellow edges. I think it comes out here in America in September, so please keep an eye out for it. I have a feeling this will be on my end of the year list. It was so good. I learned a lot about Nigeria, a lot about the system. It has a political spin to it as well. And it also really just talked to me about what family means and who really is your family and forgiveness. So much, so deep, so good. Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. Okay. The next book, and I'm so excited. I have to show you guys. I've talked about this 100 times about the inside, but so this is The 12 Lives of Samuel Holley by Hannah Tinti. I got to see her at the Bay Area Book Festival, and where she signed my book for a second time. She put this stamp. It's so cute. This is the story of Samuel Holley and his daughter Lou. They are on the run because Samuel has a criminal past. His wife has passed away and he is raising his daughter on his own. At the beginning of the novel, she and he settle down in the town that his wife was from to see if they can start a normal life. The chapters rotate between her point of view and her growing up and learning about her father, learning about how it is to live in a town, to have friends, to develop relationships, and also between her father's chapters where you learn about the 12 times he was shot, and in those you learn the history of the family, his relationship with her mother, how she passes, and kind of why he is the way he is in the life that he leads. I was totally enthralled with this book throughout the entire thing. I never wanted it to end. There are so many great stories about family and love, and when you learn what a person really is, and forgiveness. Again, forgiveness is a good theme in a lot of the books I've read so far this year. It's so well written. Tinti was adorable and endearing and smart. She runs the One Story. She's the editor of One Story, which is the short story magazine that publishes one short story a month. And they only publish each author one time. So if you want to, I'll link One Story below so you can take a look at it. It is not expensive, and it's worth checking out. And The 12 Lives of Samuel Hawley was excellent, and I highly, highly recommend it. And last but not least in this book haul, this book list of 12 books that I've read, 13 maybe, is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. I know that this is an older book and a lot of you have probably read it, but I have not stopped thinking about Agnes and her life. This is set in the beginning of the 1800s. Agnes is accused and convicted of murdering 2 men and sentenced to death, and at the beginning of the novel is sent away to this family in the middle of nowhere, which is actually where she's from, to wait for the final day where she will face execution. It's the story of not judging a person by what you know about them, really getting to know them. It's also a story about just because the government or the people in charge tell you something is the way it is, doesn't really mean that that is actually what is true. Hannah Kent did some research. Agnes is actually based on a true person, and it's so good. It's kind of like a mystery novel. It reminded me a lot of Alias Grace by Margaret Atwood, sort of that same feel. It kind of has a Lizzie Borden type feel to it as well. I really loved it. In my last 2 videos ago, I think, I talked about having the good people. I'm trying really hard to get done so that I can get to that one, but that's Hannah Kent's Burial Rites. So that's my list of top books that I've read so far in 2017. It's quite a list, so I apologize for how long this video is. I just want to remind everyone that I am still taking, on my holiday TBR and first giveaway video, I am still taking submissions of your favorite immigrant stories, and I have the giveaway of Lisa Coe's novel and Donia Bijan's novel, both signed by the authors and dated. And I'm creating a list of immigrant stories to provide to you. So if you still want to get through that, I am taking submissions on that until Friday, which I believe is, it's in a couple days from now. Today is the 21st, so I apologize. It's like the 23rd, I think, Friday the 23rd. And then I will be putting all that together, doing a poll, and letting you know who won. So if you want to get in on that, go watch that video and then answer. I'm definitely still keeping up on that. I hope you all are having a fantastic week, and I will talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!